Hello, and today we're going to have a look at Blackroot. Now this is as old school D&D as you can possibly get. Definitely based upon Gandalf, especially in the 80s. Most mages in that period tended to look more like this guy. Robes, staff, and a big pointy floppy hat. Reaper has certainly embraced that concept with this figure, which isn't altogether bad. I mean, it's not my usual fare. I don't play magic users in D&D, so I don't have a lot of magic user figures. I'm not entirely sure why I picked this guy up. He was $2.95, I think, and he was sitting there, and I just sort of got him on a bit of a whim. In the end, it turned out to be a little bit fortuitous, because in the next adventure that I'll be doing, I actually have need of a red wizard. And the Red Wizards of Thay, they study demons, anything to do with arcana. What they really want is power. They're really power mad. They're not very good at hiding themselves. They tend to wear red robe. You know, everything they do is very red. They're very easy to spot. But the thing about them is they tend to be damn powerful, which as a player can be quite annoying because they can be quite hard to take down. So you can paint these guys in any colour you want, of course, but as I knew I needed one of the Red Wizards of Thay, I painted him red. So I went with a Army Painter red as the base, and then used a dark P3 red, so there was some separation in the two colours sort of thing. I decided to add a bit of grey for his hat, his beard, and then matted him down when he was all over. Now, this is nowhere near my best work. I wasn't particularly worried about that in this case, because this figure, while it's okay, and it's great for what you're going to use it for as a game piece, but the detail on this figure is quite soft in places. His hands are not well defined, and on the inside they're smooth. There's no ridges for where his fingers are. So it's a few things like that. So as I knew that was the case, I didn't want to spend vast amount of times, and I got Infinity to paint and Raging Heroes and stuff like this, which are beautiful figures, and even Reaper Medals. I got some of the Reaper Medals, and they're gorgeous figures. Maybe not as good as Infinity and Raging Heroes and that, but they're still really good. But the Bones is a mixed bag, and you will get some that are really good and some that are going to be deformed or soft. So you got to, you know, it's a bit hit and miss, and you got to sort of pick and choose what ones you're going to get. I do prefer, whenever possible, when it comes to the Bones, to get them in shop rather than order them, for that reason, because you'll find a lot of nice pictures online of the Bones, but sometimes when you actually see the figure in the flesh, so to speak, you can see some of them where they have actual issues and that. So I didn't mind that this one was going to be a bit soft, but on having said that, I decided that I wasn't going to spend a lot of time, working on him. Now, one thing you can do is what I've done here, and part of the reason why it's not my best work is because you can go in areas that you wouldn't normally do. Now, while his beard and hair is very well defined, and his hat isn't bad, I very much overwashed them. Now, I didn't mind doing that. You wouldn't do that normally. If you're doing a showpiece or a piece that you're just going to put on your shelf that you're really proud of, you don't overwash them, because it doesn't look natural enough. Now, the reason why I didn't worry here is he's going to be used on the game table for D&D, and 2 3x5 tables pushed together. So it's going to be 6x10. They're not going to see him up close, so you want them though to sort of see some detail. So by overwashing him, they're going to see the detail in the beard and the hat, but up close it looks way too much. And that's what I mean. I don't mind so much on this one because of what it is, being a game piece. But yeah, if this was for your shelf, you wouldn't overwash them. But if it was for your shelf, you probably wouldn't get this figure. You might look for him in metal, because if there is a metal version, it will be better detail. It will be much more defined. Reaper Medals just are a lot more defined than their Bones. So yeah, he was done with tabletop quality in mind. I added some dirt around the bottom of his cape and his robes and that. I mean, he is a wizard, which they're very scholarly and that, but these guys also get out into the wilderness a bit to cause trouble. And I thought on his travels, it could be wet and muddy and that, and it allowed me to add a little bit extra colour to an otherwise very red sort of motif. So he was good fun to do, but I mean he's just going to go into the NPC bin, which is when we just pull him out when we need an NPC, and he was $2.95, and that's not bad. You get a couple of hours out of him, and you've got a useful figure for the game. But yeah, if you're actually going to put him on the shelf and that, I would say give this one a miss. But if you're going to use him for a game piece and that, then he's a okay one to look up.